All right, here's the deal. So basically with this episode, what happened is when we started recording yesterday, we lost all the microphone audio. I've got audio from the game, but I don't have audio from my mic. I don't have audio from Discord from Moonbaboon's mic. So basically what I've decided to do is just chop up the episode, get the key points. Luckily, nothing really that big happened in this episode. It was a lot of traveling around, so it was actually pretty easy to cut down. Thank goodness. When we left off last time, I think we only had like 2 caves left to explore, and then we had that one bunker. It was like the purple bed thing that we could explore. So that was where we left off last time. Other than that, we didn't really have much. So everything else was kind of reliant on exploring around. So it was a lot of traveling. I don't want to go on too much. We recorded like 3 hours and 12 minutes, I think, of like raw footage for the video. And then I basically was able to cut it down to like 18 minutes. So we're going to do a VO over the chopped up version of the video. I apologize. I think what happened is the Windows system updated and it did something weird with OBS. Not a huge deal. I was able to reconstruct everything in OBS and get everything back to normal again, I think. So this next one that's coming out, episode 6, will have all the audio and everything back again. It shouldn't be an issue again, and I'll do better about making sure my levels are actually, like my audio levels are actually working in OBS before we start recording again. But so I guess enjoy this shorter episode. Probably won't really be any shorts that come out of it either on YouTube, and probably no reels over on Instagram, just because there's not really anything interesting to hear with it. So the visuals are kind of just like dead water to me. But yeah, enjoy, and thanks for hanging around, and next one will be better. Next one, I got you. Thanks. All right, so basically we're opening on us trying to figure out what in God's name we're going to do next. Wandering around, looking at the map, see what's up, picking my chin a little bit, just casual stuff like that. Whenever we left off, we were basically saying that we were going to be back at the base, but what we actually discovered is we never ended up going to the bunker that we wanted to go to on the last episode. So we were talking about that here and trying to determine what the best course of action is in order to execute that. We know that we wanted to go to the bunker and we wanted to explore anything else that we had. So if it was on the map and it was a POI, we were checking it out. So now we're basically going to hop onto our one wheels and start our traveling. So this is at a point where we decided that we were going to stop at this camp that we found, and we found a silencer for the pistol. We love that. We love a good silencer. The only other thing we found at this place was this picture here. We did detect an unusual burst 7 months ago. Readings were similar to what we would see in a brief dimensional switch. What we were talking about here was that what we think happened is the dimensional switch is what put that spaceship from the last episode in that cave. We think that it basically jumped dimensions. So here we finally made it to one of the caves that we wanted to go into. We looked around, tried to see what we could find, and we found a little rope going down. I decided I was going to break my ankles. So, brief bit of swimming, as we do so much in caves, it seems like. And we realized that we have found ourselves back into the same cave. Now, interestingly, it wasn't actually the same cave entrance. We were in a different cave. We didn't find anything, so that's why you're not seeing any of it here. But that's somehow connected with this cave, which we thought we explored pretty thoroughly, but apparently there was another way in, and while we were in it would have been another way out. So we left, and here we are ascending rather, into the mountains. Here I decided I was going to try and figure out the sled again. And after figuring out I could jump and land on it, I decided to go absolute mock Jesus down the hill, hopefully not receiving a concussion. And so then I decide that I'm going to compose myself first of all, and then slowly ascend my way back up the 8.5 miles I just went downhill. And we found ourselves another ice cave. In this cave, it pretty much was exactly what you would expect from ice caves. We pretty much only found a blueprint, and there was nothing else, which we've discovered that being an issue before. We could not figure out what in the world this was. Tried figuring it out, tried staring at it for an intense amount of time, and eventually landed on the fact that I was probably never going to figure out what I was looking at until I had him shine his flashlight on it. And still did not figure out what it was. We are still speculating some kind of like spear ballista or something, I don't know. And after we ascended the hill to have a communion with God himself and his death rays, we decided that getting down from the mountain the quickest way would be obviously flying. So here, instead of cutting this out, even though it took a while, it was a really pretty flight actually. So I decided that I might as well just go ahead and just speed it up. That way y'all can enjoy the flight as well. So that will start now. That is absolutely gorgeous. I love that view. And this is actually where we were in the last episode when it was still snowy in winter time. We were down by that little lake over there. But here we're heading to a marker that we saw pop up while we were out exploring, which I decided to nosedive into. And right on cue, this guy decided to simply pass away when we showed up. Just like all of them do. But at this point, he'd been there for, what, 22 days or something, just waving that flare around waiting for us to show up. And in this cave, we found basically it was like a bunch of weird little rooms that you could go into. It was almost like a little mine shaft. And of course, we found, you guessed it, another blueprint. And we think, and actually did find out what this was. What we were speculating here, what was a spotlight, essentially, that you could mount somewhere at your base. Spoiler alert, that's what it was. But it is actually pretty obvious, we're just dumb. And so here we were able to go a little further down and explore some more and found, you guessed it, another blueprint. We're thinking this is a sundial because of the little shadow in the background. Kind of seems like a sundial. We also haven't built that yet to figure out what that is, so who knows. And here we are back exploring, swinging a miss on that bird. It's unfortunate. I think we are migrating our way to our next POI where we find a helicopter. Spoiler alert on this, you can't fly it and there was absolutely nothing around it. It was pretty much a completely pointless endeavor. But we did, however, spot some red smoke down the hill. We wanted to check that out before we went into the bunker, which, by the way, where that helicopter was that purple bunker that we were looking to explore in the last episode. And again, on cue, Buddy simply passes away when we get here. Again, waving that flare for like 22 days. But here I decided I was going to cook my good friend Moon Baboon up some delicious deep fried skunk, and here I am giving it to him, feeding my boy. Gotta keep him healthy with that skunk meat. And then we decide we go into the bunker. And here we are at the entrance of the bunker, getting ready to find some crazy stuff in here. Super excited. But we were disappointed because we didn't have the key card, so we left. We're gonna have to find that key card. We did not ever end up finding it in this episode. So, with me driving, I decided to nearly throw us off of a cliff, but thank God for the absolutely ridiculous torque on these golf carts, we were able to salvage it. And by salvage it, I mean throw us off cliff anyways. And here we are descending into this little cave slash POI to explore. And we found nothing but an exit. So that's pretty cool. Are you guys starting to see why it was so easy to cut this episode down? This is us trying to figure out what our next game plan is, figure out where to go, because we have now explored I think one of our 2 caves and all the POIs. This is where we went to the other set of boats that was on that piece of paper we found a couple episodes back, where they said they had boats on the North Shore and the South Shore, and this was the South Shore ones we hadn't found yet. Now this piece of paper is the single most important thing that we found in this episode, and you will see, well, I'll explain why when we get to the end where we actually discussed what our game plan was. This is a very, very important key piece of paper right here. And from there, we decided that we were going to make our way to our last cave. This is the only cave that we had left to explore. Anything else underground or in bunkers or anything was all like POIs and little, just like weird crop outs that we could go check out. Very long rope slide to get down into this place. And upon arrival, we find a pickaxe. Now we had to dive down pretty deep for this. We decided that we were going to see if we could mine, and we were able to actually get sulfite. This material that we keep speculating about. We can finally gather it. I don't know why we can gather it, but we can. So of course, we find another blueprint. This is just an odd contraption. I mean, some of these things, you look at them and you're just like, I have no idea what this is. I mean, you really just have to build them. And down here we find, you guessed it, the left testicle of a Decepticon. So that's pretty cool. I mean, where are you going to find that anywhere else in any other game? I mean, this is grade A content. So after leaving that cave, which that's pretty much all we found in there, we find this letter that says, keep an eye out. One of the Puffton's old researchers contacted Timmy LeBlanc, the kid with the mutant arm. He's also looking for the cube, which we have seen in these like cave paintings, them worshiping this cube. And Timmy LeBlanc, of course, being the kid from the first game. I will let you enjoy this. I'm not gonna lie, I don't know if we can show that on YouTube, but we're going to until told otherwise. So after exploring some more, we found another building where we found this creepy note, and it says, I haven't slept in 3 months. There is something in the caves. Now, I don't know about you, but I believe that letter because I've been in the caves. There's something down there. Now you're able to go down under the floorboards here, and we find this. We found it and broke it into 6 parts. I've killed the others. We don't know what that means, but we do believe that's the artifact that we found that has all the pieces that eventually, once we find them all, we assume we will be able to combine them. Not sure what that note's about yet, though. We did see that once we went further down into the basement, we found this gold cross hanging here. It's the first time we found gold. Anything laying around. And now the reason why that's so significant is after we drop down here, we find all of these skeletons turned to gold, grabbing, you guessed it, the other testicle of a Decepticon. We got a full set. I'm pretty sure that with that kind of luck, you should go play the lottery. And so I did, and I did not win. But that's not important. We went into the waterfall, found a golden cross at the back of the waterfall, and found another blueprint. I don't know what these blueprints are. That looks like an over-engineered fly swatter to me. Beats me. I mean, there's no telling. So we climb our way out of this cave, and we travel our way back to the base with really nothing left to do or explore. We have no heading at this point. We've explored everything that we have marked. So I decided I'm going to try and build this thing and figure out what in God's name it is, because it is the weirdest contraption that we have by far, aside from our friendly over-engineered fly swatter. There's really no real way of knowing what these blueprints are until after you build them. So we start piecing it together, throw it all in there, and find out we can put sulfite inside of it. So, okay, cool. We decided that we're going to put some sulfite inside of it. And then I popped my axe in there because they let me do that. And then wouldn't you know it, on the flip of a light switch, basically, my little meth lab started exploding. Not knowing what that does. We're just watching it in awe. We do find out part of what it does pretty quickly, though, because all the noise and flashing lights that this absolutely insane device is making is drawing some attention, we'll say. We start noticing here that it is filling up with this like gold-ish water, this like yellowish water. It's piss. It's filling up with piss. So what do you want from me? I mean, come on. But then I realize, oh, look out behind you. There's a mutant. Oh, there's mutants everywhere. They're trying to get in. So I close the door. And after he slaughters that innocent person that intruded on our property, we decide that we're going to go full John Wick after a brief moment of me trying to figure out what's going on here. So we queue up. We grab our lovely shotguns. We stand on either side of the door. We give a little 3, 2, 1, sling it open, and start blasting. And then we realize, oh, there is actually an ungodly amount of mutants outside of our base. We have not quite put 2 and 2 together that, Jesus, you never know when that guy's gonna come out of nowhere. Big old baby boy decides he's gonna try and get in. Not letting that happen. But we've not put 2 and 2 together yet at this point that what we just did summoned all these creeps. We just assume we've been gone from the base long enough that apparently the amount of attacking that's happening to our base is pretty significant at this point. At this point, we're talking about, okay, this is why we need traps outside the base. The electric fence is just getting absolutely trampled by these mutants. So I decide, since I haven't figured out that that's doing something yet, let me just throw my gun in there, toss this guy's corpse out of my way, and turn this bad boy on again and see what happens. So after I get flashbanged by our new electrical device, we start trying to wait around and see what exactly this thing is supposed to do, and wouldn't you know it, my friend and co-worker Moon Baboon informs me, hey, we're getting jumped again by 1 billion mutants like clockwork. And they're destroying our fence, which is just lovely because it's painstaking to reassemble that thing, but here we are. Nothing we can do yet. And so, at this point, I'm just trying to turn this thing off or do literally anything to stop the mutants from coming, because they are non-stop swarming the base. And it's taken a real long time for my flashbang grenade to stop erupting in our base. And after pulling out my pistol out of the device and whipping it out, I see that it's golden. Wouldn't you know it? I mean, I'm basically GoldenEye 007 on N64. I mean, I've got the gun. I've got the gun. I mean, I win. He assembled his spotlight, and yeah, that is disgustingly and impressively bright. but we figured out that you couldn't turn it, so that was kind of disappointing. So after a quick snooze, we decided to wake up, have ourselves a wonderfully protein-packed, balanced breakfast of just like dried meat that's been sitting outside forever on a stick rack, and start trying to figure out what is our next move. We don't know where to go. Our caves are all explored. We don't have any more markers on the map that we have not explored. But then I remember this piece of paper. I told you we'd come back to this. Now this piece of paper, I mean, it's kind of explicitly written on there and we're just extremely slow, but it shows, once you look at the map where all the bunkers are laid out north facing on this map perfectly to line up to these dots. So we have at least 3 more bunkers to go explore. So that's the game plan at this point. When we jump back in, we're going to be trying to map our way through all of these bunkers and try and get back into that other bunker that we couldn't get into. Bye!